Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here and this is weatherweb.net. It is Saturday the 28th of September. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget that the sites get free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. So when you come back and use the site and use the adverts, that's what generates the revenue that keeps us free of charge. So thanks again for doing that. 7 to 10 day mean, 500 millibar flow. We've got the ECMWF on the left here, we've got the GFS on the right, and this is the means taking us up from next Saturday to Tuesday the 8th of October. And interesting to see again, look how the ECMWF is building these heights above normal across the UK, across the Eastern Atlantic actually, and much of Scandinavia and the eastern parts of Europe. And compare that with the GFS, look, that has a build, but it puts the ridge much further north and keeps it to the east of the UK, whilst developing a trough here in the Atlantic, and just has this kind of weak ridge effect through the British Isles. Now, what that tends to hint at, particularly with this ridge building over the eastern states, is that we'll get a sympathetic trough taking place here and probably some ridging going on here. So the overall pattern looks to be about right, although I think probably I'm leaning more into kind of GFS mode than ECMWF on this at the moment. I don't think that ridge is going to be quite as dominant across the UK. And when we get a ridge like that across the UK, generally it means dry conditions because high pressure is under control. Now the NAO looking something like this. You see it here, this is what we're interested in here, the blue line here, that it dips into negative territory, but it does show signs of coming back up. Now, the negative territory indicates weaker westerly winds coming across the Atlantic, but that rise to nearer neutral territory indicates it getting back into that westerly flow. And just interesting to note the temperature forecast for Europe during this period, because it's that idea of it going into a negative NAO does have an impact, and it's this bottom chart that I'm interested in really. This is the mean of temperature for the 7-day period up to next Saturday midday, and what I want you to notice here, look, is how cold it's going to be across western parts of Russia, across eastern parts of Europe. We've got temperatures there 7 and 8 degrees below normal. Yet look, out towards the west, we've got temperatures above normal. This is a really cold northerly flow that gets into this eastern part of Europe, and that's part of the signal of that NAO. Now, trying to get a steer into the early part of October is proving really tricky. This is the MJO forecast, taking us from the 27th of September through to the 28th of October, and it's these bright colours really that we're interested in, because that shows us the predicted path that this is likely to take. Now, it's a very weak phase. You notice it here going into a very, very weak phase 6, and typically phase 6 is a changing phase, but it more generally builds into a negative NAO pattern and kind of hints at Atlantic ridging and Scandinavian blocking. The main signal of this phase 6 is Scandinavian blocking, so the idea of high pressure across Scandinavia with that easterly flow. And you notice here that it kind of meanders around a weak phase 6 for several days into the beginning of October before running into neutral territory. So in a way, the MJO from the ECMWF kind of backs up what we already knew, which is that we get this build of pressure across Scandinavia, this block that builds in over the coming sort of week or so, but then what we find is that that actually starts to weaken off, and then we go into, at the moment, very difficult to get a feel for the weather type that we go into after that, but I suspect that the block probably collapses and we get lower pressure moving into the south of the country. But I have to say, that could change. We need to watch that very, very closely. But let's get on to something that we do know something about. So we'll look at this week, or we think we know something about. This is the chart for Saturday for today. Here's the rain that's been nudging its way onto the southern coast of the country through parts of Wales during the course of today. And here's rain coming into northern parts of Scotland, generally dry elsewhere. Now, into Sunday, we find this increased easterly flow through the course of Sunday afternoon. I think during Sunday, what we're going to find are some outbreaks of rain again across more southern parts of the country during the course of Sunday. Most of that is only going to be fairly light, and I think for most of the country, it's dry, it's bright, with some sunny spells, always more cloud around Scotland. Monday sees fronts edging into the west, bringing some outbreaks of rain there. Most of it generally fairly light and patchy. Eastern areas probably dry with the best of the sunshine through Scotland. Still quite breezy on these eastern coasts. Tuesday sees low pressure out towards the west of Ireland, and this south to southwesterly flow pushes fronts northwards through the country during Tuesday, bringing outbreaks of rain to many areas. Most of the rain out towards the west, so it'll be quite showery in nature, but generally fairly light rain off towards the east and the south. Pretty breezy too. And then on Wednesday, I think we're going to find outbreaks of rain again across much of the country, tending to spread their way eastwards, being fairly light, but you know, we could find some moderate showery bursts just about everywhere as this front moves through. So very difficult to pin down conditions during Wednesday, apart from to say probably Ireland is brighter with sunny spells and showers. So I hope that gives you an idea of where we're going with the forecast. Thanks again for watching. And as I said at the beginning, we kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. So by you coming back and using the site is what keeps us free of charge. So thanks for doing that. And whatever you're doing, have a great day and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.